So I just kind of had to put my blind trust in Laura and then believe in myself. And she believed in me, which made the difference, that I could pursue acting. And, early on, she said that she believed I would do well. And I've carried that with me all this time. And that's been enough to give me strength and faith that it'll be okay.
If you're a professional actor challenged by an increasingly fragmented industry, then this podcast is for you. The Hollywood Actor Podcast is an anthology made up of the stories of actors building their bodies of work by redefining themselves, reframing their goals, and reevaluating their opportunities. No matter where we are in our careers, we're always looking to be inspired and to share ourselves across our community. This podcast offers that opportunity to guests and to listeners alike as we all discover what it means to be a working, professional, successful actor. This is Jamie H. Young, and you're listening to the Hollywood Actor Podcast. Today's guest is Clint Obenchain. Clint trained with Laura Cunningham at the Albuquerque Actors Studio. His credits include AMC's Better Call Saul, Fox's Deputy, and the CBS All Access show, Interrogation. And make sure to catch Clint in the Oscar-nominated film News of the World, available to rent or buy on digital platforms including Apple's iTunes, Amazon Prime Video, and Vudu. Now let's sit down and chat with Hollywood actor Clint Obenchain. Let's kick it off by just learning a little bit about your time growing up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Okay, I was born and raised there in a working class family. I wasn't particularly good at school, and unfortunately I didn't really participate. I was just very timid. And I loved reading books, and I would have rather lived in a book than really participate in life. And that kind of followed me into my young adulthood. I didn't really learn the skills to be active in my community and pursue interests and things like that. And so I didn't go to college after high school. I just went right into the labor force, which I'd started my senior year, and then just went from job to job, mostly manual labor because that paid a little bit more. And
loading tractor trailers, carpentry, cabinet setter, mason, tender.
Yeah, so all of them basically unskilled. You don't have to be taught very long how to do it, but it's physically demanding. So there would be high turnover in all of those industries, but usually good health insurance, good pay. So that's why I did it.
Did you enjoy any one in particular?
I enjoyed the first one. I enjoyed working for UPS. The structure of it, it was repetitive, but it was low stress. And you just kind of build walls in those trailers. You get good at that, and you get fast. And it was a good workout. I was probably in the best physical shape of my life, when I was 18 to 20. And after that point, I had much more stressful jobs. So I got lucky in the beginning, and then it became harder after that.
Seems like you're always interested in very physical activities, not just with your work, but also you're a big bike rider, it sounded like.
For a moment, I guess I was just comfortable with physical activities. I didn't have confidence in my intelligence, and because I lacked education, then physical work kind of felt like the only outlet. And then when I went on a bicycle trip, I hadn't ridden a bicycle since I was a kid, so it kind of was just a solution to traveling slowly and cheaply, and I'd done that for about a year when I needed a break from working so much. And I'd hoped that would kind of open the next chapter of my life, which it did.
What were you using bicycling to do to kind of, like you're saying, open yourself up, to give you a little bit of a break? I mean, what I'm referring to is there was a national bike ride you were doing across the country, which most people can fantasize about, but few people actually get around to doing. So what was there a big impetus for that in particular?
Sure. So prior to that, about a year before, my dad had passed away. He had gotten cancer. And so that was the first kind of major disruption of my life and everyone else in my family. And then after that, I was married very young, and the relationship with my wife at that time ended. So that was kind of the second major disruption. And then I moved out of our home and moved back into where my mom lived. And so kind of three major stressful things of life happened within a short period of time. And then I quit my job. So I felt like I didn't have anything to do, no reason to be there, and felt kind of like running away. I'm going to be honest. That's what the bike represented, was running away. And then I hadn't been many places outside of that state besides the beach and camping. And so it didn't feel like I needed much courage. It would have taken more courage to stay and rebuild. I wasn't very resourceful or knowledgeable about traveling or a bike, or what I was doing or how far I could go within a day, or where I was going to sleep at night. So there were a lot of like road angels along the way who just kind of looked after me and made sure I was safe during my travels.
Where did those travels take you to?
I traveled east first to Maryland and the beach, and then I rode down to Florida and zoomed around there, and then I went to New Orleans, and that's where I kind of ran out of oomph and money, and it was getting cold. And so I stopped, and then I kind of lost momentum, and I didn't go straight from here to there. I just kind of meandered around each state. So I had logged around 3,000 miles by the time I got to New Orleans, and my legs are pretty strong, but I was ready to, I guess in hindsight, I was ready to end that in that chapter.
Did you pick up the odd job there, or were you looking to maybe head back to Pennsylvania or find some sort of a home somewhere else in the United States?
I was looking to have like a home there. So I started to have roommates, and it turned out to be a very exciting, interesting, creative place. A lot of energy and art and music and going on. And Mardi Gras was right around the corner when I ended up there. And I did continue to kind of go back into what I knew, did construction jobs, and where I was staying was an hour bike ride away from the job. So I had to ride an hour in the morning and then an hour back. Wow. And so continued to be physically demanding. And I kind of felt depressed about that because I thought a journey would make me a different person at the end, but it didn't really work out immediately. So that was a life lesson.
Did that make you want to take off from New Orleans at a certain point?
It did. And I started to. I started to try to have the same experience again, but I had kind of gotten out of that mode, that groove, and it didn't work. So I ended up going back to New Orleans for a bit, and then eventually I felt like it was done. So I returned to Pennsylvania and kind of went back into a depression there because I thought, things would be different, but I was the same person. And then I just tried to start rebuilding from there, and it kind of felt like it was all a weird dream.
What did you start rebuilding in Pennsylvania? I know it's talking to a lot of Hollywood actors. There are definitely our fair share of people that are trying to find themselves, that are trying to throw out lifelines, trying to build something very early on. A lot of us are marauding, trying to build a community and then And then for whatever reason that community crumbles. And so we have to find that community and build it somewhere else, even if we have to do a lot of the hard, dirty work. And it seems like you're very acquainted to that.
Yeah, it was kind of incidental. I definitely went on a journey of exploration and trying to find myself and discover who I was. And I'd never put that work in before. I never put too much thought into what life could be as an adult. I just thought it meant hard work and weekend trips. And then, if you live to retirement, then retirement. And then you're in the cemetery. And the working class, unless you have opportunity to leave it, that's kind of what it felt like to me. I don't think it feels like that to everybody there, but I did have a creative side, and it was not being fulfilled in that industry. So I felt a little trapped. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Had that creative side been awakened by your brief stay in New Orleans?
Definitely. Because that did feel like a second home.
Really?
And it kind of lit the interest in me to try to find a creative outlet and hopefully a creative life. And so part of New Orleans, never left me. So that's what I brought back to Pennsylvania, and I'm thankful for that.
What did you start finding yourself doing in Pennsylvania? What did you start being able to build?
Well, at first I went back to what I knew. So I did have, went back and found a manual labor job, because it's really all I was qualified to do, and found a small place in the city to rent, and kind of fell back into the life I was living before. And, and I think it was kind of like falling back asleep, I guess. I was awake and alive for a while, and then kind of falling back asleep. And then I met my future wife, and that kind of reawakened me. And I would say, she saved me.
That's Sheila Eden, right?
Yes. Yep. She is my wife now.
Yes.
And we've been together going on 12 years now.
Wow. And we were just talking about her with the Chris Bilsma, his interview. That was his first co-star, was on From Dusk Till Dawn, where he got to star opposite her. Yeah, and she's for everyone that's listening, she's a great actress, musician, a woman of many trades here in New Mexico. And you met her in Lancaster, Pennsylvania?
I met her there, and she had just been done with college, and she was kind of uprooted too, because her family moved to Pennsylvania while she was in college. So we were both kind of in the in-between zone, and I think that worked for both of us to start dating. Yeah, and that's how I started to rebuild. And her outlook on life and her attitude and her goals kind of helped me jump into her zone and into her world of thinking. And then that's how I started to rebuild and rethink things.
Yeah, she's a very sweet, very positive person.
Yes. And I tend to be more moody and darker at times. And I do have a sense of humor. Not everybody sees it, but she brings the good out in me for sure.
So did you guys try living in different parts of the country before you eventually settled in New Mexico?
Yep. So we went back to New Orleans because I wanted to spend time with her there and just to share the experience with her. We didn't stay long because we started to feel like very nomadic. So after only 3 months there, we had moved and we had a baby at that time. So we decided to travel, and we got an old Toyota RV, really tiny, and sold our cars, and then traveled around the country. I believe it was for 4 months, and settled in Arizona at the time. And we felt like being out west was the place we needed to be.
Much more freeing out here, huh?
I did feel like there was more freedom to be creative back east. My personal experience is that is back in Pennsylvania, it felt like artists kind of had to hide it, or they had to live the same way everybody else did, but try to make art on the side. And that didn't work for me. But out west, we met many artists right away, and many people trying to live how they wanted to live. And that was more inspiring and more in line with what we wanted.
That's exactly how I feel. Exactly right. That you can find and carve out your own destiny out west. It seems like an outdated concept, but I still feel it. And a lot of people I talk with.
I mean, it feels like that was a very, old way of thinking, but it was only, 150 years ago or that people, or more than that or less than that people came out west for the same reasons, to carve out a new life. And so I think the energy of that is still here, and it's still the main reason to come out west.
Mm. So you eventually did settle down here in Albuquerque?
Yes. We both decided to work in the film industry, and at that time it was very talked about as a great place to go, especially for opportunity and to kind of jump into it. And we decided to and by then we had 2 children, so we decided to settle here and kind of commit to trying to make a home here. And we didn't know where we would fit in, but we did feel like that was the industry where we belonged.
It's a very interesting market where obviously it's a lot cheaper than some of the larger, more expensive coastal markets, New York City, Los Angeles, even Chicago. And for somebody that's especially like trying to create that new identity, new life, with literally a new life that you have there in a baby that you're trying to raise, must have seemed extremely exciting and promising for you at that time.
It was definitely calculated. We didn't have the big dream to go, to LA. And New York City felt like it was just not quite where we wanted to be. And Albuquerque seemed like it was doable. It was, the cost of living was cheaper, and we felt like we could get by. And I had been a stay-at-home dad for many years, but the kids were getting older, close to school age. So I had to make a decision on what I was going to do, because obviously I couldn't be a stay-at-home parent forever. So the pressure was on to really make some decisions and decide what to do now.
And did Sheila, was she talking to you more about the TV and film industry here, and did she start working and kind of brought you into the fold, or were you both finding it out at the same time?
Yeah, we jumped in, and she started pursuing acting right away because she acted in theater a lot, and especially musical theater growing up.
Okay.
And so she was familiar with acting. So she did that for a little while, and I stayed still kind of in the background of not knowing what to do. So out of curiosity, after a couple months of living here, that's when I started taking an acting class.
Thanks for listening to the Hollywood Actor Podcast. If you like this content, don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.